Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都还难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Mr. Tony Reed in the studio. Hi, Tony.
New. It's nice to be back. We're talking about something really fun today.
Yeah, I want to ask you actually, because you are juggling many balls always. You do Takeaway Chinese with me. You go on Roundtable as well as Doodle Plus every week. And you also have your art projects.
Well, I got my podcast, What's the Word, right? The global program.
As well, yeah. So how'd you do that? Because I find myself, lacking the enthusiasm in doing stuff when especially it's off work. When I'm on duty, when I'm actually in the office, I get things done. But afterwards, it's the hard part.
It is. You're right. And like you, because I've been watching you as well, you make notes. You make a list of things that you have to do on a daily basis. And I think that's the only way that I don't, put something off, which a lot of us tend to do sometimes. Like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. And when it comes, you're like, I'll just do it the next day.
Yeah, I do that a lot. That's why I have the list. And if you pay a closer attention to it, you would find that all the listed things are the things that I absolutely have to do that day.
Yeah.
It's like the deadline stuff. If you don't do it, you die. So,
oh, man. Yeah.
Deadline stuff for me.
Yeah. For me, it's some of it is work. Some of it is like outside of work stuff. And sometimes that outside of work stuff doesn't get done. And I'm on a mean streak right now of not working out, which is unusual.
Ooh.
I'm on my 5th day, and today is like, okay, I put it off for 4 days. I gotta work. I have to work out today.
Well, I think that's the problem for a lot of people. Procrastination, right? And that is why in today's episode, I hope we can address that word as well as that symptom of ours, so that after this episode, hopefully we would all get that little nudge we need to do the things that we have been putting off.
Or at least be able to speak like a slacker in Chinese, right?
Yeah, that would be the least we can do after this episode.
Nice.
So, for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get to grips with the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, CRI Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 你的工作总结写完了吗？没有，明天才是截止日期呀，不着急。你真是个拖延症患者，哈哈，截止日期是第一生产力呀。I can totally hear that conversation happen in my life so many times.
Oh, yes. Deadlines, finishing this, not finishing that, putting things off.
Putting it off all the time, again and again.
Oh, yeah.
That's not right. We should cure that problem.
Yeah, we should. But I think if you're overburdened with other stuff, it's just really easy to do.
See, overburdening, that is the perfect excuse. Don't use that. Okay, so let's stop putting off the learning of the conversation.
All right.
For the first sentence, 你的工作总结写完了吗?
So this is, have you finished your work summary, right? So 你的 This is your. 工作, this is work, right? And then we have 总结, right? This is so work summary, exactly.
Work summary. So work summary, 工作总结, it's a thing in the Chinese work environment. I'm not really sure about Western ones because I have not worked in overseas companies. But for Chinese companies, 工作总结 work summary, it's a thing you would have to write after a major task or after a certain period of time, say for half a year, often a year. You would write what you have done, what are some shortcomings, what are some obstacles you have overcome, and what are some future plans or let's say direction you'd like to work ahead.
Yeah.
工作总结, something very important.
It sounds like a PMP, but it's not something that's done on a monthly basis or weekly basis. It's like once a year. They kind of evaluate like your, you evaluate
like
your
self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation and like where you want to go with the company, and it gives the leadership an idea of what kind of worker you are, or if you want to promote or stay where you're at, and if they want to do, what they want to do with you or not.
Yeah, you review and you plan. So 工作总结, very important.
And then at the end it says 写完了吗? So 写 has something to do with writing, right?
Yes.
And then 完了吗? So is this this is the finished aspect, right?
Yeah, so finish or not.
And I think this is kind of interesting because I think asking if someone is finished is really useful in, I think, any language.
Yes.
But in Chinese, it changes depending on what you're asking. For example, if I wanted to ask someone, are you finished eating? Right? I mean, you wouldn't say the same word in every circumstance. It would be different, right? I'm going to guess, would it be 吃完了吗?
Perfect. So it's not that complicated. Actually, the structure is the verb plus one.
Oh.
It's easy. So the verb here is because you need to write a work summary. So you ask, write, finish or not. So 写完了吗? And when you eat, you ask, eat, finish or not. 吃完了吗? You can also say work out, finish or not. So 运动完了吗? Right?
What about, are you finished talking?
说完了吗?
说完了吗?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The only thing you need
Nice.
to be alerted about is the right correlation about the verb. Because we know 说话 is speak, but you don't really say 话完了吗? You say 说完了吗?
Yeah, this is also a little bit interesting when you ask, can you speak a certain language, right? 你说会, or 你说中文?
你说中文吗?
Ma,
Do you speak
right.
Chinese? Yes. So just pay attention to the verb in this kind of circumstances,
Okay.
plus the character 完. So here, 写完了吗? Finish writing or not.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then, 没有，明天才是截止日期啊，不着急。
This is no. The deadline is tomorrow, so there's no hurry. Oh, this person's in a good place. Yeah. So 没有.
Good mood.
Yeah. 没有 is like I don't have or no. 明天, that's tomorrow. 才是, right? This is just.
Yes, 才 carries the meaning of just. It's kind of like saying, why are you asking me now? It is not until tomorrow. That's the deadline. As if there's a lot of time. Anyway, so 才是 carries the meaning of just.
Okay.
Yes.
And then 截止日期啊.
截止日期.
日期.
Yes, so 截止 actually means stop. So 截 carries the meaning of cut off. 止 carries stop. And 日期 would be a date.
日期.
Yes, so the date that
Stop
is
date.
the stop date that would be
Deadline.
the deadline.
Yeah.
Yes, 截止日期.
And then 不着急.
不着急.
So 着急 is hurry.
Hurry.
So 不 it means no hurry.
No hurry, 不着急. And here, 截止日期, if you think 截止日期 is really complicated, it's too hard to pronounce.
Yes.
Actually, if you're working in a company that is affected more or less with Western culture, you can say deadline. People understand now.
Oh, well, that's music to my ears. All
Or you
right.
can say DDL.
DDL.
Yeah. I don't know why, but people say DDL. That's the deadline.
你有 deadline 吗？
你有 deadline 吗? You can say that.
Cool.
And we
Awesome.
say, I think some people would also say, 我有一个 project 要 do, as in
我有一个
我有一个 I have.
Oh, I have one project. And then do?
要 do, as in DUE.
Oh, okay.
There are people who are mixing Chinese and English
With
with
English.
English and play a little bit with both languages. It can be a little bit funny to my ears. But if you're working in a company like that, probably it'll be easier for you to understand their Chinese.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the hybrid Chinese there. 截止日期啊，截止日期 standard Mandarin, but probably some people would understand deadline or DDL.
Okay.
Oh, one funny side note is that since we know dead is 死 dead, and line is a 线, so some people would also translate it as 死线, literally dead line.
死线.
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 That works as
It's
well.
easier than the other one. 日期. That's that R sound. 日期.
日期
日期.
date. Yes. Okay. 你真是个拖延症患者.
This is you're such a procrastinator, right? So 你真是, right? So this is really, or 你真的 is another way of saying this, right?
So 真的 would be real. You still need the R here. So you are someone. So you need the R, and here the R is 是. So you can say, if it's say 你是老师吗? Are you a teacher? So you are teacher? Question mark. So 你是老师吗? And here 你真是 you really are.
Okay. 你真是 really good 拖延症.
拖延症.
拖延 or 延症.
拖延症 putting
拖延
together.
症. This is procrastination. Right?
Yes. Actually,
You are procrastination.
拖延症 is 拖延 here means to procrastinate, and 症 is a disease. It's a symptom. And that is why after that you have 患者,
患者, this is like a patient,
a
right?
patient. So 拖延症患者 altogether would be the procrastinator, or the patient who's suffering from the symptom of procrastinate.
Oh, he's saying you have an illness.
It is a little bit like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Actually, I think in modern days, people are suffering from different kind of illness. We procrastinate. We do not know what to choose, or otherwise known as decidophobia.
Decidophobia.
We're
Wow.
antisocial sometimes. We say, we cannot deal with strangers. These are
These like mental sicknesses,
some of them are real sicknesses. Some of them are just
habits.
or complaints people make about modern day life. On one hand, I think it's nice people are taking care of their mental health. They're paying more attention to their feelings rather than just to their bodies. But on the other hand, I think they're just, some crybabies. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
Yeah.
see. But
Yeah.
it's nice to know how to say those
You gotta do
things.
that too. Sometimes it's nice to be a crybaby. How do you say crybaby in Chinese?
We do not have a saying.
Oh,
for
you don't have one?
crybaby, but
Oh.
we have a let's say, but we do have a saying that 会哭的孩子有奶吃.
Wow, it was really long.
It means 会哭 would be knowing how to cry or when to cry. 的孩子, the kind of kids. 有 have 奶 milk. 吃 to have as dinner. So those who are crying babies would get better treatment. Would have better, let's say, attention paying to them.
Oh, so in English you would say a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So it's kind of like a bird that doesn't open its mouth. The mother is not going to feed it. It's going to feed the other ones, and then that bird is going to starve. So you have to open your mouth.
But I think a crying baby also is similar to the saying. I mean, it's not positive by describing someone as a baby who knows how to cry in Chinese context as well. So similar.
I see.
Yeah. All right. So 拖延症患者 would be a procrastinator,
Yeah.
or in Chinese concept, a patient suffering from procrastination. And then 哈哈，截止日期是第一生产力啊。
This is haha. The deadline is is a productive force for you.
Yes.
So obviously haha is the laugh, LOL.
LOL.
And then 截止日期. This is that deadline again.
Yes.
是 is 第一. 第一 is this like primary?
Primary or first or major in certain cases.
And then we have 生产力. This is like productive energy or something pushing you to be productive, right?
Yes. So 生产力 in itself is supposed to be productive force or labor force, but it can also mean, like what you said, the push that you need to be productive. And 第一生产力, the primary productive force or the most important motivation you need in this case. So it's like saying, only by looking at the eyes of the deadline will I have the motivation to start working.
Yeah, well, yeah, that kind of gets people to work, right? If they have something that they have to work towards, then they do it. But if you don't give them that, then they take their time.
Yeah, and people say DDL 是第一生产力, so deadline is the major motivation I need. It's kind of like a saying for, especially netizens in China. I think it's a funny thing.
It works. I think it works for, earlier I was talking about my fitness, 运动. I think if my goal or my deadline, if I don't have one, then it's easy to take more days off. So maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah. So, about the conversation, do you have any questions?
No, let's do it.
你的工作总结写完了吗？
没有，明天才是截止日期啊，不着急。
你真是个拖延症患者。
哈哈，截止日期是第一生产力啊。
You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Hongli, and Tony. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts by email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's learn about some tricks that will cure your procrastination. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Tony in the studio. So, do you have, let's say, an area where you procrastinate the most?
An area that I procrastinate the most? Probably reading.
Oh yeah, me too.
I have a few books and I have a habit that I'm trying to keep where I read a certain amount a day, but that's like the last thing on my list. And at the end of the night when it's like bed, read, I look at both and I'm like, nah, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. I understand it. And if you think of the Chinese word 拖延, it's actually very, very vivid.
拖延.
Yeah,
this
because
is procrastinator, right?
Yes, because 拖 carries the meaning of drag. It's like you're dragging something because it's really hard, mentally it's too hard. You cannot drag it and walk really fast.
Yeah.
And 延 means to postpone. So you're dragging it, but then you feel like, no, it's just too hard. I'm going to postpone it. So you procrastinate.
Yeah.
拖延, it's a very vivid word. And speaking of 拖延症, procrastination, I think it's people's excuse of blaming it as a disease. It's not my fault. It's a disease I suffer from.
Yeah.
I just have to.
I have a condition,
I have a condition.
What about you? What's your, what do you procrastinate the most with?
I procrastinate learning a new skill.
Ooh.
I always have the, let's say, motivation to start learning. And once I get into it, once I reach the bottleneck, we say 瓶颈. Oh, that's a good one because it's the literal translation of bottleneck. 瓶子, bottle, and 颈 is your neck. So the bottleneck stage, the platform stage, the stage that you stop seeing a real progress. Once, as long as you're working, you see the progress. But there is the stage where you feel like you're stopping.
You're not going any further.
Not going any further.
When it comes to bodybuilding, it's called it's a plateau.
Plateau.
You
I
plateau.
like that.
Yeah.
So we say 瓶颈期, so the bottleneck stage. When you reach that stage, I started to procrastinate. It's like you don't see the light.
You don't see results.
You don't see
I'm
results.
right there with you. I'm looking at my physique and I'm like, man, nothing's happening. I'm killing myself here and working out, and it's just
it's
like
so hard.
I don't see anything else. And so yeah, the next time you work out, it doesn't really feel like you're doing things, like you're running in place.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not that the major tasks are, the monsters that are keeping us being very active. Sometimes I procrastinate at little tasks as well. So 小事我也会拖延。小事 would be small things, small matter, small tasks, like doing laundry. Sometimes when I'm home, I'm supposed to start doing laundry right away. It's not that hard. It's just, tiny little things. But I procrastinate till really late at that night that I absolutely have to, and I'll go start doing it. And it's just not fun.
No, it's not. It's just I think it's stuff that you just don't want to do anyway, mainly.
Yeah.
You save the things that you don't want to do to last, till hopefully you can make up an excuse to not do it at all.
It happens to people, and I think we're not alone. People say that procrastination involves the voluntary delay of an intended task despite expecting to be worse off for doing, explains this professor of the psychology at the University of Sheffield in England. They say you get all kinds of people saying procrastination is good for this or good for that, but embedded within the definition is no form of procrastination is ever good for you. So procrastinating will not make the job easier. It will not make you feel better when you do it. It is just something we need to overcome, I would say.
Yes.
So is there any trick you have to stop putting things off?
Oh, man. Well, I think deadlines are huge. If you have a deadline, then it's a lot harder to procrastinate because you have to have it done by a certain time. I mean, earlier, the example I gave you was, lifting weights and working out. If I want to have like an 8-pack by, say, June, then I have to make sure that I work out so hard on my stomach. That way it looks a certain way by June. So, and if June is the deadline, then I think then you take a picture now, and then you work really hard and you take another picture in May or whatever. And then so you can see some progress. But I think having a deadline is key, but it's not always very easy.
Well, or I think another way I can think of is to reward yourself once you reach a certain stage of result, a certain stage of a periodic aim of yours. So if you, let's say, separate your huge goal into 3 stages, then you must have reached a certain state at, let's say, stage 1. So you take a picture of the stage 1 and you reward yourself with something you really want. So self-motivating. We say 自我激励, self 激励 motivate.
激励?
Yes, 自我激励 self-motivating would be something very important. And another thing you touched upon would be 制定计划.
制定计划 is plan.
Yes, 制定计划 would be make up a plan. And you have to be a little bit more specific on when to do that thing.
Yeah.
For example, if you have a habit, 习惯 a habit,
is habit, yeah.
of working out directly after work. Once you step out of the office, you don't go home, you just directly go to the gym. It helps.
Yeah.
So 习惯 habit always helps.
Right.
But the thing or the downside of that is as long as you break the habit once, it's really easy to break it again.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Normally my habit is right after I eat dinner, I go straight to the room because I have my own gym in my apartment.
Oh, that's good.
So, but that's also really hard because we get motivated.
It's too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy to just be like, I'll make it there gradually, and then it doesn't happen. I think another thing is just giving yourself little challenges.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, I like to make a daily list of things I need to get done. But one thing that I think, after talking with you today, I feel like I should try to push myself to speak to 5 people in this building in Chinese, say something to them.
Oh
in
yeah,
Chinese
you can
where
say
I can
to the cafe lady to order a coffee.
yeah, like 我要 Americano. You know.
美式 you can say 美式我要一杯美式
eBay.
一杯 is 1 cup of.
Right.
美式 is
It's okay, right?
American style.
Oh.
Yeah, so actually you want American style coffee, which is Americano, but you don't have to say coffee since it's implied. So you say 一杯美式 1 cup of American style.
Oh my goodness. If I say Americano, they'll understand, right?
They do understand, but it's not Chinese.
美式 sounds like it's okay. 美式.
美式
Yeah, it's the same word.
You can remember it as that. It's the easy pronunciation. That's a
Right,
really good
right.
one. Give yourself a challenge, something you want to do or you wish to do someday. That is also a good one.
Yeah.
Actually, I was trying to pick up playing piano, and I guess I can give myself a challenge of being able to play a whole piece of music. That'll be my challenge. And in order to achieve that, I would have to, I don't know, learn it more actively.
You got tiny fingers. That would be interesting to see you play.
I do have tiny fingers. It's really hard. Not built for me. That music instrument is not built for me. So yeah, I think we've provided enough little tips. The key is to trick yourself into having the habit of do this thing you keep procrastinating about.
Yeah. And also seeing yourself in the place that you want to be. I think that's also another trick to trick your mind into getting into that habit. Because if you see yourself already as a fluent Chinese speaker, then you'll pick up certain habits to, I guess, to facilitate that reality. It's kind of a strategy that a lot of people have used, is envisioning yourself at the place you already want to be.
Yes, and also reward yourself a little bit. It's like playing games. If you achieve something every several tries, it will be much more motivating for you to continue doing it. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese.